right, then, ladies and gentlemen, it's Zay here with Chris. We're back with you again with another video game review. We just finished up on the decision-based game. Heavy Rain came out in 2011. Man, it has been long awaited to play this game. We've been playing it for the last couple of weeks now. We just finished it today. Let's go ahead and get into our thoughts of it. Chris has seen this game be played before by other people. I have never seen this game from start to finish. I've only seen a couple of breakdown videos and like some funny things. Like we know we're going to be saying a lot, but Sean, we've heard that a million times. I've seen that in so many what culture videos and top 10 videos, embarrassing moments, funny moments. So now that we have both fully played our version of Heavy Rain, tell me what you think about it. Our storyline.
It was,
Sorry, you gotta speak up. They can't hear you. I'm just playing with you.
I already had known who the killer was, but either way, even if I didn't, it is very obvious. But I think it's very obvious to see who was the killer. But to me, they kind of laid it out for you pretty easily and earlier on who was the killer. It just depends on if you want to see it or not. Big L take to having the red herring they did want to have. The main guy, obviously the daddy.
Yeah, spoilers for the game. So if you've never played this game and you want to have like a general like
it's a game about
reaction,
crime investigation of
yes.
Why little boys.
But stop right here if you don't want to know anything more, because we're going to tell you who the
being
killer
kidnapped.
is and everything. But anyway, keep going. You said the big L was the red herring of Ethan.
The dad, yeah, Ethan. Ethan, I just hate the fact that they literally left out the reason why his blackouts were occurring. It's like, I hate whenever, it's just like how a movie, it'll start with like something good, something that grasps your attention. It's okay, what's going on there? Like, I want to figure out what's happening. Then they kind of just get rid of it as soon as basically the killer comes on, and they just he doesn't have any more blackouts. And that's another way, that's a dead giveaway of it too. So that's a big L for me, because I'm just like, you just completely got rid of the first concept you even had about him. It's okay, well, is he sick? Is he dying? Like, to me, he should have been possibly dying the whole time.
Yeah.
You know, it could have been like, oh, we found something in your brain, that's why you're having these blackouts, you know, possible tumor, you had an aneurysm, or it's just different
it's connected
things.
to your trauma, or your trauma accelerated it.
Yeah.
Excuse me for what you're going through. So, yeah, no, we're not going to go through the whole entirety of the story, but it is tragic.
We're not going to go in order.
We're not going to go in order of it, but it is tragic of Ethan losing his kid in a mall. His kid gets hit by a car, and just because they run out into the street, and Ethan is scarred by that. He loses him and his wife separate, and this story is pretty much him trying to bond with his other son Sean, and then that son gets kidnapped by the origami killer. And we're playing through these different perspectives of Ethan, the dad. We're playing through Shelby, a private detective. We're playing through Madison, who is like this
useless.
She's a journalist. Well, she's a journalist, but she's hiding who
But
she
to me,
is.
it's like that we should have. That's another L take too, because it's like Madison. I always felt like, if you guys know who Madison and Lauren is a mom of another child that got kidnapped and, you know, was found dead.
Who happens to be a prostitute during this timeline.
She's not the prostitute.
Lauren.
She's not the prostitute.
What are you talking about? Lauren is the mom.
The one. She's not a prostitute. That's not the one. It's the other one.
Then who's the other one? So it's Lauren.
I don't know the other one's name, but I promise it's not Lauren.
The woman that drowned in the thing. The woman that drowned in the car. What was
That's
her name?
Lauren. She's not the prostitute. I'm telling you, she's not the
She was
prostitute.
the prostitute from the beginning.
She's
from the
not,
very first scene.
She's not a prostitute. You're thinking about the other one who literally was trying to kill herself too.
No. When Shelby arrived.
Well, you just pull it up.
Yeah, I was about to say. Give me a second. When Lauren Winter is the mother of Johnny Winter, is one of the victims. She works as a prostitute from her apartment. Lauren Winter.
That's pretty embarrassing.
So I want everybody who's listening to this. I'm being real now. I want everybody to know.
I did not think Lauren was a prostitute.
Hold on. Wait.
I thought she was a stripper.
Wait. Because everybody wants to know, this is our dynamic. This is how we are. There are many times when one of us knows something that the other doesn't. Trust me, it's happened many times. But it's okay. But yeah, Lauren, I was right. There's a lot of people in this game, y'all. So it's hard to remember. But yes, Lauren the prostitute.
But my biggest take on it was Lauren the mother. She should have. they should have given her more of Madison's role.
Yeah.
Because Madison literally came out of nowhere, guys. She had a bunch of quick time in a fighting event with her based off of a bad nightmare she was having of people coming in and robbing her place. And then from there, okay, her chapter ends. That's her first chapter. Then she's just all the time around Ethan. And it's just kind of like we never got to actually see, okay, how'd you find Ethan? Are you just hearing about these stories? Are you watching the news heavily? Because we didn't know she was a journalist until later on as well.
We should have done journalistic work with her from the beginning.
Yeah.
Set the tone, and then you can have a bigger, like, reveal of later. But obviously, I'll get into some things of it. Since it was my first time playing it, I do have different perspectives of it. Storyline wise, not a bad story overall. This is still pretty entertaining to play beginning to end. I did not know that Shelby was the killer, so I gotta give good praise on the game. I didn't know until
saw the man's outline.
Until I saw his outline in the club. That's what really told me. Up until then, y'all, Chris was telling me he was the killer. She knew it, but at the end of the day, I don't believe anybody until I see it. I gotta see it to believe it. So when he was in that outline at the club, that's how I knew it was him.
On that, I didn't tell him right away it was Shelby, but it was whenever he was rocking a baby, and I was like, I think it's him. And because I couldn't actually remember who it was at the very beginning of the video game, so I was just kind of like, oh, I don't know who it is. I was like, is it Ethan? But I was like, no, Ethan was too obvious, so it's not Ethan. And then whenever Shelby, I don't know what clicked in me, guys, from the first stream I watched of it, I literally was just like, oh, it's Scott. It's Scotty.
Yeah.
It's Scott.
But like I said, we'll just get into some parts that we let's address all the stuff that we really didn't like about it, which was that, and then we'll get into the stuff that we did, because I think the stuff that we did enjoy about it kind of outweighs the stuff we didn't, just because it was fun to play. I'm not going to sit here and tell you this wasn't a fun experience. It did have us on our toes, wanting to protect some characters, wanting to make the right decisions, and wanting to get an ending that was indicative of like our choices. You know, we do like decision-based games, so I feel like as a decision-based game, this one definitely was walking. So a lot of other great decision-based games could run later on when it came to video games, like Detroit Become Human and even a little bit. Even a little bit of some other ones too. They're kind of escaping my mind, but they were able to balance a lot of characters well. You're right. I do feel like Madison and Lauren's characters could have been, if not combined, switched with what they were doing. I just feel like Madison felt like one of the most misplaced characters. Like,
yeah,
we could
because
have
guys, they
built
literally
up
just
a lot for her
they
beforehand.
just had her come in, sleep. First of all, just so inherently involved with helping Ethan. And it's like, at this point, I'm like, girl, you're a weirdo. Like, I'm like, you don't know this man, you don't know his kid. Or it's like, I told him, I was like, a very easy thing, she could have been his teacher at one point and been like, oh, I gave him to him. You did look disheveled that day. You came and picked him up, and then y'all went to the playground. It's just, there's so many ways it could have put her in there if they wanted her to be his true love interest. But to me, I just said she might as well have just been someone's mom and have her combined with Lauren's character, so then at least Lauren, would be someone's mom. We know why she's involved in the case. You know why she's passionate about the case. And then they both kind of have that connection of, oh, we've both lost a kid, even though I'm trying to save mine now, but at least we got to save the one that I have, and like we can share him, so it's kind of like, that's to me how it should have been. They just randomly had her in here. She's a journalist, and then she gets attacked. Like, it's just, and then plus I didn't like how they did her scenes, because a lot of the times, first of all, their behind the scenes is only of her. It's only the woman. Like, none of the men, like, we don't see Scott Shelby, we don't see Ethan Hawke. We don't even get to see, like, their behind the scenes. It's only her. And a lot of the times her scenes were very, like, not promiscuous, but they would always have her legs being spread apart, or they would have her, like, always in, like, a very sexual harassment type of
playing the sexy girl in the club.
Exactly. And it's kind of just like, to me, it's like, okay, she could have been more than that, or I would have made sense if she was okay to be like that because she's doing it for her kid inevitably, or for another child.
Or the journalism thing. Like I said, just show a little bit more of the journalistic approach from the beginning. That's the only thing really that I have a gripe with her about. Lauren was Lauren. Lauren was just here. I don't mind Lauren's introduction. She was the prostitute. We were playing as Shelby, that was a good setup for her. That really is what put me away from thinking I don't think Shelby's the killer. He just seems like a private eye who's trying to help these people, and he has to do it the grimy way. So the first person we see you interact with is this prostitute. Then we got to beat up a guy. It's a whole thing with her. So, but for her to randomly, after we save her from being beat up by one of her clients, she just starts to become our like partner. Oh, I want to be your partner because I lost a son with this. I didn't like that, because I was like, you could have done it different ways. You could have started it off in the beginning being annoying. You could have even had her maybe be a little bit crazy. Like, I've always wanted to be a private eye, or it just felt weird that she went from this prostitute of, oh, Shelby saved me, so I'm just gonna join Shelby and
figure
out
where's your money
it's
coming
not
from.
Good enough. Show her trying to talk to other private eyes, and then they say no to her, or maybe she doesn't have enough money to hire a private eye, so she just mooches off of him, or maybe she do something that introduces her as she really is desperate to work with him, not, oh, I just happened to follow you.
Or maybe she became a defamed one, and that's why she had to become a prostitute or something.
Okay, it could work like that. Like I said, just different things. I just felt like there wasn't enough put in there. But Ethan himself, Ethan's just funny as hell as a character. I think he had me laughing way too many times in here. And then
but
Jaden,
it's just though what sucks with Ethan. That was the only flaw of his character, those blackouts, because it's like, and I did like how they showed, like, at first it was very sunny outside, it was beautiful, he had to with his kids, he had his wife, even though I did not help her with those dishes. I definitely liked how he did that. And then whenever his son died, of course, it's raining all the time. You're sad. You're depressed. You're alone. Your place doesn't look nearly as nice, and you're a whole architect. Like, I did like how they showed that. But to me, it's still like you flawed him, because it's like you were so heavy on trying to make us believe he was the killer, to where it's like you just completely got rid of what you were actually supposed to be doing with them. You guys said, let's give him some blackouts, then when the killers approach, get rid of them. And It's just like,
I would have, I mean, we only played in one of those blackouts once, and that was just him walking in the street. We should have kept having those happen. Random moments when we're playing as Ethan, I would have loved it if he just like fell to the ground, and then we're in the blackout. And you can even go as far as to have you can make it look like a blackout, but it's really a nightmare of him thinking he's the killer. But to us, we think, is this what's really happening in his blackouts? Like, make us play through. This is what I really wanted, just to seal it all right. We should have had a section where we play through, what if Ethan was the killer? This is what he would do, right? Like, have him kidnap Sean, put him in the well, act crazy in it, and then leave. And then he wakes up and he's like, oh my God, did I do it? Like, thinking, did I actually do it? And then it's really like a dream or he's just being haunted by these terrible thoughts.
Because I think they did try to have like a cinematic moment whenever he was in the train station, and like everyone kept falling, showing how bad his anxiety is, what he thinks will happen whenever he runs into people. Obviously the trauma from your previous son getting lost into a crowd. So it's like, I guess they tried to do that.
I did like that, yeah.
But it was just, like I said, it's just it's like you can tell where they put a lot of thought into things, and you can tell where it's kind of just like, let's just get through this chapter. Like, the woman, we know y'all did not care about the woman storylines. Y'all were just like, have them be prostitutes, have them be promiscuous. Yeah. Like, let's just have them be women. Like, this is how we view women. Let's just have them be in here doing something random, and let's have one of them fuck the main character, even though we know they don't really have chemistry. Okay, and then another thing too is the mechanics. I understand. No, it is a lot. Obviously, you can change the difficulty on things, but even there was one part whenever the very first time we played this, we could not brush his teeth.
Oh my God! Oh yeah! Oh my God!
And we had to literally stop. We had to keep stopping because we couldn't brush his teeth. All you had to do was shake. You literally just had to shake the controller, which is exactly what we were doing. But for some reason, sometimes the movements do not work, or when you have to hold down R1, R2, L1, and then maybe triangle, it's like some of the things just genuinely do not work.
Yeah.
So I'm just like, well, I like that though, because it does show you the different directions, and it shows you a different way to play as, instead of just having like a free roam camera and like your free will. It's okay, at least show me like different ways to do combat and stuff. Yeah. But like I said, some of the mechanics some of the mechanics literally were inoperable. You couldn't do it, or like the tilting. The main one y'all need to fix is the tilting. Of the controller, yeah. Because you need to either have us point it somewhere particular, or you need to just be able to manage, our kinetic motion anyway from.
I'm personally not gonna beat up too much on the game for that. This was made This was made way back when this was made, I think, when the PS3
And that's
was
why it was
becoming
so, and
bigger.
that's why it was so great, because for you to have these type of mechanics, we can still use them now 2 PlayStations later. That is
That is
great.
very impressive. And
So
there's more, I will say this, of all the decision-based games we played, of all the games we played, this one made me, like, there's things I had to do with the controller. I didn't even know I could do that with the controller. Like, move it a certain way, hold down the buttons, like, how they...
what did he say?
I did like, yeah, but I did like how when you get to a door, I'm not just pressing X to open it. I have to move it up as if I'm twisting the knob, or like I said, brushing the teeth, or little things like shaking the towel if I take a shower. It's little things that make you feel.
Oh, and let's get some soap in those showers, huh?
Yeah, it's little things that make you feel integrated within the game. So I will give it an A+ for that. I think more games should kind of copy this style of, if you're doing a decision-based game, you got to make me feel like I'm making decisions. I like how when we're in certain rooms, you can choose how you want to address things or take care of things versus, like Beyond Two Souls. Beyond Two Souls is like, hey, you got to get ready first, and then you have to make dinner, and then you have to get ready for the guests to come over. This was like,
And no, you do not. That is a complete lie.
but that was a certain. I'm not going to get too heated with this. That was a certain section of the game that I was referencing.
Why would you get heated
for
about
Beyond
this?
Two Souls? Because at the end of the day, we're gonna get into who died and why you had him die. We're gonna get into that later. But
I didn't kill anyone.
with this game, I will say that there were great moments that made me work very hard to stay on my toes. Like, and if I messed up, this person's dying. Like, and then we just move on to the next chapter. So I like that there was great consequences in here. In terms of other things I really liked, I mean, hell, I just thought that it was. I think that for a game that was made this far long ago, I think that a lot of the graphics still hold up for what it kind of looks like. The rain looks nice. Some of the character models are a little bit up and down, but there were some very, very good moments. Let me go ahead and get this guy out the way first. Jaden, the cop, or the
Norman
Jaden, yeah, the guy who he had the glasses, the
Coked
special
up.
glasses. He was coked up. I get what they were doing, and I got him killed, by the way, y'all. I got him killed at his desk near the very end because I did not get all the clues I needed to find out who the actual killer was. So he died at his desk, and I did have him take drugs a couple of times. So I just feel like that could have been done a little bit differently. I feel like if you're going to have a game this long, we have 6 chapters, you can have a couple of chapters of us seeing the background of some of these other characters. Like, I only felt like I only knew Ethan and Shelby the most. Like, everyone else felt like, I don't really know your childhood that much. I don't really know, like, what your house looks like at all. Like, I just feel like you could have had
You
different
feel like
sets
you need
for
that?
these characters. For Jaden, it would have worked to give some more definition in terms of what he's doing. He felt like I could have taken him away almost completely because we're trying to do the investigation thing, and there's just some moments that he kind of fell wayside of. We were in the police station way too much. I think Jaden's best moments were when he was trying to be combative against who was that cop I was trying to
It's just your partner. I forgot.
Blake. It's
yeah,
Blake. It's Blake. Yeah. His best scenes were against Blake. It would have worked better if Blake was the addict and we were trying to
Honestly,
catch him.
what was the guy doing? So remember whenever it was Jaden and Blake, and then they saw that guy with all like the crosses and stuff, and he was like a believer, but
They just thought he was a killer.
So they were just like, oh, I
It's
just
just
showed some
another
detective
killer
work.
on the list. Yeah, you were just going down the list of and that's fine. If you want to have a separate story where we're slowly but surely breaking down, it can't be him, can't be this person. That's fine. But excuse me, bring some more attention to who Jaden's character is. And I think if you were gonna do the drug thing, and here's my thing, you should have done the drug thing with Jaden. You should have had, you said it at the end, the glasses and the drugs kind of went together hand in hand or something. I think we should have introduced that earlier. Maybe you should have had him go to a supplier of the drugs at one point to like show his personal side. Why is he taking these drugs? What is he numbing? We should have done something with that. At least show a part of him. Or have Blake be the one taking drugs and we find out a little bit later on, and then we try to like Do we bust him? Do we not bust him? Do the cop thing like that. But anyway, that's nitpicking, little things like that. Since we just finished off the last section, let's just talk about the last third of the game, which is the reveal of Scott Shelby, his background. Let me go ahead and paint it to you right here, and then we'll get Chris's and I's opinions on this. So, Scott Shelby's reasoning for what he's doing, his past is that as a kid, when he was 10, his twin brother, John Shepard, they had an abusive, or they had a dad who was an alcoholic, didn't care about them. They were kind of like in a trailer park, and they went to a construction site, and John got stuck in this water, this like what was it like?
It was a sewage pipe, or
like a sewage pipe that was open. He fell in it,
and he can't. In the pipe.
Yeah, his leg got caught in it, but the water's flowing, so he can't get out. So obviously Scott's trying to get his dad to help, and his dad's a piece of shit. Oh, well, that's just one less mouth to feed. That's a tough scene, by the way.
Greedy mouth.
I think they did a good job with that scene, because it really did show you like how, like what type of domino effect just being a neglectful parent can be. If you can be a shitty. No, I'm not saying you can be a shitty parent, but his dad could have been shitty for 90% of the game. And that one time, if his dad would have actually gotten up and done something, would have changed the complete course of history. But he didn't. Pushed his son down. That was really fucked up. And then he just holds his brother's hand as he's dying there. And it's just it's tough, because it's like, as a kid, we were talking about as the game went on, it's like, it's not like, can you blame Shelby for being this? But I did tell Chris, I said, his imagination is on 12. Like, you think you're playing around in this construction park like it's a playground, but it's a dangerous place, and you rely on your authority figure parents to help save you in desperate times. Not only is your parent there, they're the neglectful because they're drinking, and not only that, they don't even fuck with you. Hey, one less mouth to feed, I don't care, scram. Your entire life is now changed, even more so because you think, why should I care about anybody else? And that's why Shelby becomes who he is. I'm going to do this. I'm going to make other fathers or other parents feel how I felt, which is almost hopeless. I can't help, but I'm going to give you a chance to help them. And of course, Ethan's the one who can actually do that. But based off of all of that, and his mother, of course, has dementia. She likes origami, and that's why he makes the origami figures, and he puts them in the places that he puts them in. And he puts them on these games and whatnot. You know, it's kind of like Saw-like. But anyway, what did you think about Shelby's motivations? I know you're probably not going to say it's warranted, but what did you think, seeing his past, and you already knew who he was?
Yeah.
What are your thoughts?
His past, like I said, it is very toxica.
And tragic.
And it's very, it is very sad to like sit there and literally know like there's nothing I can do to help you. I'm not strong enough to get you out of here. I know you're already dying. And then I already tried to get the help that I needed. And, you know, stop fucking around. That's why, see, you got to quit playing around. Dangerous shit. But whose fault is that? Not the kids. They don't even have a father. Like, they don't even have, like, a father or anyone really to watch them. Because guess what? Mom has to go to work because dad's a drunk. So mom has to be at work probably freaking triple shifts in a row. Whereas dad's just going to be a drunk. I always say life is... Literally, Hannah Montana said it. Life's what you make it. So if your whole life was literally like, I'm going to, and which, like I said, I have what I had told him when we were watching it. I said, we never have a right to decide how people are going to react to things that have happened to them, especially when you have not experienced them. So it's like, obviously I can't say, oh, I wouldn't do that, or I wouldn't do this, or I wouldn't go nuts, because we truly never know. We never know what'll break, you know, or
what'll break you.
So, but I will say, it's just like, life is what you make it. So it's like, instead of doing this, like, even Madison at the end, she goes, why don't you be the father that he couldn't
that
be?
was a good
She
line
said,
by
why?
her.
She said, why? Because it is always an option. You always have a choice. Are you going to be the murderer that you are, killing young boys because of the fact your brother had to die? So you're going to take away more life because you're like, oh, well, at the end of the day, I didn't get to have my brother, so fuck these kids. And plus, their parents don't care about him anyway. Let's end their misery. But who are you to claim that and say that they're miserable like that? Because granted, one of the ladies was a prostitute. The other one, the dad was always at the convenience store. The other one, she was ready to off herself.
Oh my
so
God, that was
it's
a
like,
very tough. That was a tough scene when we had to go see her.
So that's why, for me, I'm like, no, nothing is ever warranted. you can either be Sasuke or you can be Naruto. Which one you want to be?
Very true.
Which one do you want to
Very
be?
true.
Do you
Very
want to be
true.
the darkness that's like, so you want this darkness to continue to follow and continue to shape the next kids, or you want to have what inevitably an apprentice to maybe
And
take
you go
over
on
your
this
life?
path alone. Isn't that funny? That's all he wanted to do. Leave me alone. I don't want a partner. That's why he was so like, Lauren, she just doesn't give up, and she's just so relentless. And it's like, and it's just like, it is funny that you say the Sasuke and Naruto thing, because it is like he did take that path of, something tragic happened to me. So
but what am I gonna make? What am I gonna make of it?
Now I'm gonna be. It's crazy because you did go back to that scene of the baby. In my opinion, one of the best scenes that we played, and I really liked it, was when we had to save the woman from killing herself because she just couldn't take with the baby. It was grim, y'all. We walked in, the baby's crying. We already know what it is. The baby's crying. There's a note on the floor. I can't take this anymore. I'm done with this. And to see her with her arms slitted out like a Hannah Baker season 1 of
Hannah Baker, Fat Booty.
Hannah
season
Baker.
1, 13th
just
reason.
straight up Hannah Baker, it's just like that. And then, but as Shelby, you're standing there and you're talking to her, and you're seeing a neglectful parent who's willing to kill themselves, and that doesn't turn anything in your mind that thinks, I really
Some
can
people
be
can't
better
handle
than this. Some
this,
people
yeah.
can't handle this. Like you, it's weird because it's like as a kid, you saw your dad essentially kill himself with drinking.
Well, it's kind of like the guy from Seven in that like detective movie, because he was
Oh,
like, no,
God,
everything.
what's in the box?
But he said everything has a consequence, just like
Yes.
how he looked at the girl who was a prostitute or whatever, killed her horribly. But it's like, oh, like you're spreading disease out here. You're choosing to do that, and it's like I take it upon myself to play a godlike figure to fix things. So it's kind of like for Shelby,
Glad
it's
Shelby
like
didn't do that, by the way. Glad Shelby didn't have like a godlike approach to it. He didn't.
He did though, because he wanted to take life whenever he wanted to, because he felt the parents weren't good enough.
No, I know what you mean, but he didn't like openly say it. Like the most we had was that.
Well, we can see what his cocky ass. Oh, but guys, a big fail. This is another big L for me. Because I didn't notice this the first time I was watching someone play it, but in this one, so there's a scene where Shelby's gonna hit this guy who is a he fixes clocks. He works with time all day. Like he literally is.
Yeah. You're
he's
right.
Like
That's
a
probably the
goldsmith.
roughest scene.
I forgot. It's not a goldsmith. Oops.
No.
But,
he works with typewriters and he works with old school material
and watches, clocks. He definitely works with clocks. The majority of his work is working with clocks, which was nice to show. Like, oh, Shelby was so intrigued by like time because he didn't have enough time probably. So or why he's always trying to do these things.
Manfred. His name was Manfred. Yeah.
So basically, there was a time where you were playing Shelby this entire time. I know you thought that I was playing as Lauren at one point. I literally only play as Shelby.
Okay.
I play as Shelby this entire time, but then whenever it shows the flashbacks, it has to show like how Shelby was truly behind everything and like go back to show like whose phone he took, all this evidence he's getting rid of at the end. There's a part where he literally is where he actually hits the man Manfred on top of his head with a typewriter. And I'm like, okay, one, Lauren, you didn't hear any of that. Whatever. Hey,
True.
I digress.
Yeah, you didn't hear any
Two,
of
I was playing as Shelby the entire time. We only got to literally pick up the phone to tell them, hey, call back this afternoon. Then also, I actually hated that. I think I hated that part the most because I was like, this is very stupid. Because like I said, at the end, it's showing us that, like, oh, we're Shelby, we hit him upside the head, when in reality, during that time, I'm literally walking around looking to see if there's any other clues.
And then we discovered him in there. Like, we walked
and then we walked in and discovered him. So now it's like, and it's like it didn't have me go. It's not like I went, hey, I'll go outside. It'd be better if he was like, hey, I'm going to go outside real quick, Lauren. And then Lauren goes to the back and sees him. Then you can kind of say, oh, Shelby hit him upside the head or whatever. But it's like, as me playing as Shelby, that. But also another thing about it, too, is that this is so, to me, this made no sense. And it's like, Lauren, I guess, maybe, you were just going with a private eye, right? Like, you're like, I'm with a detective. She literally goes, shouldn't we just call and say someone? She goes, yeah, we've been here for the murder, but like, we should at least tell them, like, our statements, let's go or whatever. But then he ends up, like, we have to wipe down all of our fingerprints and stuff.
And that's what made him seem like suspect number one.
To me, it's like, okay, you're a private eye. Shouldn't you be calling this in, and telling them? And then on top of that, even whenever he finds the guy, he's trying to wipe off stuff. But I guess no matter what I did, like, I still got caught, even though I know I literally only touched the phone. But I think what it was kind of telling us was that, no, you touched the I think you were going to fail either way because you still touched the typewriter that hit him upside the head.
Honestly, I'm not even going to lie to you guys. I'll probably end up replaying that just to see every portion of it to see what it could have done differently. But you're absolutely right. That's one of the biggest fails of the game was you're going to show us him hitting him with the typewriter, but
the whole time we were playing,
there should have been something else that happened. But like I said, I'll replay it and I'll see if there's anything that could have been done differently. Maybe it was a second that Lauren's away and you hear a sound. I don't know, but that definitely could have been done differently in it. There was, I mean, just going through the chapters as it was, there was a bunch of chapters that I was like, this could have been done a little bit differently. But from the moment that you started to say that it could have been Shelby, the seeds were planted that it looked like it was him as a character. Now,
because he was really good with families, and then like he was really caring. But I'm like, but you don't have your own family. It's like you always kind of. It was very easy to show him as he's a private eye. He cares. Where are you finding these people's information from? I've never seen your lieutenant or your current. Like I've never seen any of that. Like who are these? You always have to report to someone, even when you work alone, you still have to report to something.
He was a lieutenant, yeah.
So to me, it's like, okay, there's not anything like because we saw Jaden, like his ass was cracking the fuck out, but we saw who he was working with, who he was reporting to, who he needed help with.
Who he was yelling with,
then plus also it is kind of weird too because you're thinking, okay, if Norman is with the FBI because they already have other detectives on it, why are you on it privately? Like it's like there's a lot of things going on when it's like if FBI's there, FBI's working on it. If you are part of the DEA's team, the DEA is going to be dealing with it. It's like, but of course this is way back when, so it's like we're not thinking this deep into it.
And he said he was hired by the families of the victims.
And then look how every single person, who are you? What do you want? I'm not helping with that. Like, exactly. Where are you getting this information from?
So I do still want to give the game praise for trying the absolute hardest to really steer you away. There were a lot of good moments that really could steer you away from you thinking Shelby is the killer. Instead, you would think it's Ethan. Just could have been more put on to the actual blackouts. And as we got to the actual end, I felt like, for me in general, I felt like things were really picking up from the dance, really from like the club on. So like I felt like when we went to the Flowers of the Grave and we found out the story of the killer and everything, pretty much from the Blue Lagoon nightclub, pretty much from the nightclub scene, I feel like everything was really wrapping itself up.
And also the Kramer guy, he wasn't really. Like I said, he was supposed to be someone. He was supposed
to be a cop out of it, yeah. And it almost got me because it's like Shelby got up to him and then he was like, "Tell me the truth." And then the Kramer guy or Kramer's son or whatever, he was like, "Yeah, I am the origami killer. I do all this and I say it." And then he pretty much told him, he's like, "Is that what you wanted to hear? Like, is that what you needed to hear to kind of justify you?" And it is what it is. I was telling Chris throughout this that they definitely can do a remaster version of this. You can definitely do a different version of something like this. If you want to do different cop stories where it is a red herring of who you think you're playing as, but in reality you are playing as the killer, that's nice. I think that they did that pretty well with it. If you're going to do it, give a lot more background to the ancillary pieces so that you're sitting there thinking, I wonder who it is. I wonder who it actually is. Now, let's wrap it up and tell you guys how we finished it. So, we'll tell you what happened, everybody. So, Shelby went back to his house, and Lauren snitched on him, and the cops ended up catching Shelby, and then they essentially put him in the car with Lauren, and this is my fault. This is all my fault. Shelby got free. Chris is playing as Shelby, by the way. And she was trying playing as Shelby to get Lauren out, and it was like R1 or it was moving the controller to hit, and I told her like, no, actually it was R1 was to hit the glass, and then I think it was something else, maybe holding down a button was to help Lauren, and I told her to hit R1, and she ended up hitting the glass, and she broke the window, and then
that's what sucks. But that's what sucks about it though is, well, no matter what, he wasn't gonna die there.
He wasn't gonna die. But I do think you could have saved Lauren, but you would have ended up having to either kill her or something. But
Yeah.
Lauren got drowned in the car.
Well, Lauren drowned in the car.
Lauren drowned in the car. We did not save her as Shelby.
But honestly, I know he thought like I didn't even try, but like there was something where you were supposed to shake the controller. Once again, the mechanics, I was trying to do that, but once I clicked R1, it was like I said, it does dead set you into whatever motion you're doing. So it's not like I could turn around. Like it was like no. Once he broke that glass, he got out, and that was it. But I was like, hey, Lauren, that's what you get for snitching.
But yeah, but just to wrap things up, like I said, great.
And that was Kramer's family who did that to Shelby.
My bad. That was Kramer's family. Yeah, because he told him, he was like, stay away from me, stay away from my son. But I think that if this game does anything really well, I love the moments when you have to get out of here. We have to survive. We're in a fight with someone. I love when the music picks up, and there's tons of them, whether it's Ethan on the loose from the cops when the cops come after him, because you were playing as Madison and you left him and you left Ethan at the hotel and he got caught and you have to run from the cops. I like
Don't
how you
worry, I knew he was going to take me back.
Yeah, you have to make every single little decision. Like there was one little thing you messed up on and now Ethan is caught by the cops instead of on the run. Or whether you're trapped in the car, or my personal favorite, when you're at the place and you're playing as Madison and you have to escape out of there because the place is burning. That had me on my edge because I figured if she's the only person who knows he's the killer and she's probably going to die if she doesn't get out of here. So I do like how you're running through the house or you're running through his apartment and you're trying to figure out, can I escape? I can jump, but if I jump from this height, I could die. So you have to like hide yourself in a refrigerator. But it's not like you're supposed to hide in the fridge. There's so many other options that it makes you think I can just leave or I can go into another room. So I do like that this game did that instead of A, B, and C. A's here, B's here, C's here. No, the game's like you got to go into here, fail, go into here, fail, go into here, fail. Finally, we found a way to survive right before the time's up. Because if you didn't figure it out, you would have been dead. So I like those moments.
Do think that is not accurate. I know what you're saying. I think with games like this though, I think once you have picked the right decision, so we picked the fridge, right? Because you see the table, it didn't end, right? Like the table kept going. We weren't out of time. I think once you pick the fridge, you saw how it was a lever because obviously once you hit the gas, it's gonna explode.
Yeah.
It was at like 10. It was like between 10 and 15. But once you got in the fridge, it was all the way at 25, and now let's explode.
Yeah, like you picked an option.
But I think that's why I said I think a lot of games they'll make it seem like that. They'll make it seem like, oh, you're amped up, you need to hurry up, you only have this amount of time. You'll always know with these games when you're almost out of time because it'll zoom in on it. It always will get closer. But we were so far behind. We could have probably tried the window. She probably would have said the same thing. It's too high up because he's not still no matter what on the second floor.
Everything. We tried like every option. Like we had the knockover.
Well, besides the window, but that's why for the fridge, I think once you got into the fridge, like okay, cool, we can just hurry up and explode it because she'll be okay.
But what I'm saying is that I'm glad the game does that. It's not just like it's not just like when Shelby catches you. Okay, you know what? Fuck it. I'm about to bury them because I really don't fucking like this series of games. But it's not shitting on you or shitting on your intelligence like how Life is Strange does. Oh, let's break the screen in half and you choose this or this. It's not just left or right or let's just choose this decision. Mm-hmm. Like you're in the middle of it trying to determine if I was in this situation and I'm in a burning apartment, how would I get out of it? First of all, you're stuck in this fucking closet thing. You got to break down the wall. Then you have to crawl through his bathroom. Then you have to go through the closet, go into I like that. You have us live in the moment. And it's not just like cool, you escaped. Here's a cutscene. Move on. No, like when we got to the window, she said, if I jump out the window, I could kill myself. So it's making you think in that moment.
And it does allow you to jump. But I feel like if you did jump though, then she probably would have died.
I feel like she would have died. Or Or
like hurt herself, or maybe Shelby would have found her outside, like something.
So I like how it
could be wrong.
It makes how can I say this? It makes escaping and your decisions feel worth it. Like of all the decision games we felt like we played, besides Detroit, I think Detroit Become Human nails it the best in terms of you made this decision, you're going to have to live with it. This one does it really well in terms of Heavy Rain does it well in terms of you're in the middle of this shit. Like, you have to figure out what you need to do. Like, when I was playing as Ethan and I saw my son in the well, I was freaking out because I was like, I don't know if I got enough time to find what the fuck we need to find right here, because I don't know the game.
Because there are some things just like with any game, you have to trigger something first before you can actually get the right thing.
Do it. So you're like perusing, and it's almost like the game plays on that. Like, we know you're supposed to find a way out of here. Can you find it? If you don't, the person's gonna die. But anyways, we ended up saving Ethan. Or no, we saved Sean. We saved him, thank God. Almost had me thinking.
Only person that wasn't there was Norman Jayden, because like he had already told you, he let him die in the seat trying to find the clues.
And I didn't have enough clues, which is on me. I don't think I did my best detective work as Norman Jayden trying to find everything. But then again, he was drugged up all the way. But his character really didn't contribute that much at the ending of it. But I think that Ethan and Madison, it was entertaining at the end, and we definitely could have lost Madison at the end. Like, we dead ass almost got her killed in the fight with Shelby. And Ethan, I thought he was killed. Almost pissed me off because he runs up to Shelby, and you're so used at this point to fighting in the middle. He just gets shot, and I'm like, bro, if Ethan goes out like that, this game's getting a fucking triple F, because what are you talking about? I can't defend myself. But Ethan does come back later, shoot Shelby as Shelby's trying to go after Madison. So I think it's warranted. Now, maybe Ethan would have automatically died if Madison wasn't there. We don't know. That's our playthrough of it. So,
one thing I will say about Norman Jayden, I didn't realize how depressing it was because I was so young when I first watched this. But I do realize, like, I do really wish that Norman Jayden had a little bit more of a backstory, solely because of the fact of how he died. So I've seen him now die twice. I've never seen a playthrough where he lived. I haven't, but what I will say is that how he dies is always based off like the drug type of thing. So I wish we would have, because I know it's tryptocane, that's what he calls it, but is it actually like a different type of like Novocaine, or is it like a different drug, or is it like coke? Like, I just wish now granted you probably did tryptocane, so it's not like an actual drug you're promoting over and over, right? But yeah, it's still, to me, I just wish we had a little backstory of like maybe why he's so invested in the case, why did he become FBI, something like that, because I just see now that when he dies, it's not like his partner likes him. We don't even fuck with the partner anyway. And then even the like actual guy above them, like the chief or whatever that they're supposed to go to, he doesn't care. He's like, oh, I have to be there for like, because he died, so it's like they're like, oh, I have to be there because of protocols. And at the end we have like a little quick thing of Norman Jayden because of the guy putting on the Ari glasses that Norman was already using, but which is the guy is like his partner, Blake. Blake. I'm just like, I just feel so bad because I'm like, we don't like Norman. Like I said, I've maybe in the playthroughs where he is alive, there's a little bit of a difference, but I'm just like, I just feel so bad for Norman because I'm like, no one cares about him. Yeah, no one cares about him. No one really knows about this addiction, even though like I feel like maybe they do, but it's also like you wouldn't be FBI if they know you have a heavy drug issue or drug problem.
Spazzing out in the office, like there's no way they're letting you.
And like how they just throw him off to the office, like you're supposed to be FBI. It's like he always was kind of an afterthought, so it's almost like.
So was he bottom of the barrel? Did he get like? Was he higher than? It would have been cool if we just saw him like a scene of him in his office, and because he's all drugged up, his actual chief above him was like, you're not working these bigger cases anymore, you're going to the slums and you got to start over, so go start over in this.
And if we ever catch you, trying
like that shit again, we're taking that badge. Or maybe they did, or maybe you show a scene where they did try to take it from him and he left, or something. Like I said, he has the most potential.
I just do want to know, like, if you just completely cold turkey the drugs, will he die anyway? If you do take the drugs the whole time, is he going to end up inevitably OD? I just feel like Norman Jayden always has like a tragic ending. Like I said, I'd have to see the good ones or see if he lives, because like I said, I've seen 2 now of him dying, but I just feel like at the end of the day, I just feel like his story is just so sad, and I'm just like, okay, well, we know why Scott's doing what he's doing, and then we see his mom. She even has a story of what she was doing, even though she has like dementia, Alzheimer's.
Well, they gave her more backstory.
Yeah.
And Norman is in the that actually pissed me off, because we literally had a whole section where we found out a whole nother character's information in one
And
section
I feel like
versus
that's,
Norman.
and they also kind of sold Madison too because she started doing journalist work one time through the whole game, but you're a journalist
Just
the
show
whole
us one scene.
time, and then also the man, like the Asian man that was trying to cut her up in a sexual way. It's still just kind of like, okay, what was the purpose of him? He wasn't. What was like the Asian man that was trying to chop her up? Like, I don't see the point of him.
Why didn't we have like, because Ethan found her notebook after they slept together. That was my decision. I had them sleep together. That was my decision. I was playing Ethan. That wasn't Chris's decision. But after they slept together, he found her notebook and that he was a journalist on her. Why didn't we already like write things in our notebook? Like as Jaden,
Or that could have happened when she was first getting him in, and he goes, "Oh, leave me alone! Like, you're a fucking journalist. You're probably thinking this is a story or something." And kind of, once again, an easy way to kind of get them closer together. But instead,
or maybe have her tell him when he's in and out of consciousness, "Oh God, I don't know. Like, tell the truth or don't tell the truth. I'm actually a journalist, or I actually need answers." And maybe he's like fading in and out of consciousness. Maybe he's on one of his episodes and she follows him. That would be really great if we followed him as her in one of his episodes and we took down notes and wrote down what he was doing. Then we finally get to see, Ethan, this is what you look like when you're cracked out in one of those blackouts, my nigga.
like I said, they said get rid of the blackouts.
You're hitting your head against the fucking vending machine. You're going through the streets. I don't know. You're yelling, Sean. It would have been nice if you took that and you did that for her. Like I said, it's not like the game was shitty. This is still better than a majority of decision-based games because you made me care at the end. I don't want to see Sean die. I was already traumatized by we're running through this big-ass crowd in the mall trying to find our other son, and then he's in the street and he just gets hit, lose our wife. All right, we only see her like 2 other times in the game. That's another thing. Why do we even bring her back? We could have never even had the wife come back if we weren't going to do anything
with her
significant. Like Shelby could have captured her.
Well, I guess they did have, but you know what? I guess they did have to have her come back because it's like you need to see again that your husband has lost y'all's child, and she would be there because it's like you're the other. We need to let you know, like, yeah, your son's missing. It might be the origami killer.
I wouldn't have mind playing as her, or you play as Madison and you go visit her. And maybe you get some information like that. Oh, here comes what you got in your mind.
It could have been another. Now, not necessarily it didn't have to be this because I know maybe they didn't do this because it would be corny or maybe it's just not the approach they wanted to take it.
The game had some corny beats here.
Honestly, have the mom, the actual mom of Sean and Ethan. Is it Ethan?
Sean and.
Oh,
I forgot.
Well, Ethan's wife. Guess
name.
what? Yeah. Ethan's wife. They could have had her be Madison, and then like maybe they get closer because they're getting closer. Like, damn, this could have even been a tag team game.
It could have been it could have almost been
because it could have been like another good concept is like if it was the wife and husband, they fall apart. You know, they hate each other because they're thinking like at the end of the day. You know, like you lost our son. Well, you were too busy focusing on the other one. Like just like how we always see in them. Yeah, the blame game of how we always see parents. But then it's like maybe we could have had them to be like the main characters, and like she has to go through trials and stuff, and like also the like obviously Ethan has to because he's been messing up. That could have been another approach, like I said, and it could have been like a tag team, like another like a way out and stuff like where it's like we both have to go and we have to do it. So it's like if I got 5 and I passed 3 of them, okay, I passed. But if you only pass 2 of them, then it's like,
nice. That's nice.
Son's dead.
Then it forces you to not just do the games, but to complete them to actually get the ending of both of them together.
And also, it's like that could be like that could have honestly been a DLC of it. That honestly could have been. But another thing too is like what I was first going on, not even like the tag team stuff, but it's like have the wife be Madison and be like, you lost him again. Like maybe show her, and then like she's doing her own work. No, I'm gonna save our son because you couldn't the last time, and like have her be Madison, and then maybe they get closer because it's like, oh my God, what happened to your finger? Or I got into a crash. Maybe
have them start to love each other.
Yeah, and be like, I see now that you do care about our son and that you would have done anything to save him.
It was a mistake.
Yeah.
You just happened to lose him like that. And at the end of the day, y'all.
Or had her work with Shelby to be like, I think my husband's doing it. Like the wife could have actually had a really good character.
The wife showing up to work with Shelby, not knowing Shelby's the killer, that's some tough shit. And if you would have had the wife be like Lauren, like, I need to work with you because my husband, I can't trust my husband
because he
messed
already,
up.
yeah.
So I need to work with you.
Yeah.
Because I've already lost my son, and now we're going to do it again. I'm not doing this again. And then when she finds out, oh my God, Shelby's the killer, that would make it even better. We have to escape as her. Because Ethan's not going to believe anybody else but his wife.
Or at the end, like, she can see Ethan doing these horrible things to save their son. So she realizes, okay, that's good. And then Shelby, maybe she finds out just like how Homegirl did, Madison did. And then she could just be like, so then she like, but plays it cool. Like, don't you guys hate it whenever there's a movie, they figure out everything and then they go and tell the person who's like the killer.
Everybody that this is
oh my gosh, so you're the killer and you've killed 9 boys here. Like, you don't need to tell the killer that. I think they already know what they've been doing, especially if you already have like hard proof and evidence.
Yeah.
But you know, it could have been also, you know, the wife working with Shelby. And then she kind of sees, like, this man's a little crazy. And maybe he has outbursts sometimes, you know, like kind of how they could have done with Lauren. But like I said, they just threw in Lauren and Madison for like some cheeky shit. And it's like, you really could have actually made such a stronger choice with having the wife in here. But like I said, maybe they didn't want to do that because it's all cheeky. And they're like, oh, let's have him have a new girl. But it's like, you really could have had a more enticing and
Or don't make it seem, maybe they did it because they didn't want to make it seem like this is all just about the, what were the last names? I forgot.
Or
Mars, the whole Mars. Like maybe they didn't want it to make it seem like. I think the reason why they probably did it is because they wanted to remind you this is a serial killer. This isn't just someone who killed. This isn't just someone who captured Sean.
Or have Lauren with Ethan and the wife with Shelby. Like I said, there were too many women in this.
No, yeah.
To where even though there was only 2, I'm like, but that woman could have held a lot more. Like I said, the wife definitely could have been used more because she's literally just comes back. They tell her about it in the police department, and then that's it. And it's like even at the end, like you don't see her. So now he's just so full custody of a man who cut off his finger. Like, you know, that's why I said I'm like, you kind of just like hurried up the end.
Would have been great.
But
this would have been phenomenal if you played as the wife and you found out Shelby's apartment and you went into his apartment, and instead of and that's the biggest choice for the wife. When Shelby's gone, can you find out that information and proof before he gets back? And if you can find it out, then you're going to Ethan and you tell him. But if you don't, then you end up in that scenario Madison did, where Shelby's like, oh, you found out my trick. Great. Yeah. Now I have to kill you. But it would have been even better because when you go into that that little place he has with the orchids and the computer, it would have been great if you not just saw his son, but you're right. You did see Ethan doing the challenges, and that's the moment she realizes. He really, not only did, he cut off his fingers for him. And then she can see like, oh my God, he took this liquid that was supposed to kill him in an hour and he just took it for our son. That would be great. And then she can save him or be there at the end, or maybe even Ethan's there and he sees her trying to open up the cage, and it's both the parents trying to save the son, not this random ass Madison woman.
Because that's why I said because at the end it would have been so much more power. You can have your little cheeky moments. It's still a woman in there, but it's still just like at the end of the day, it's like if the wife was there and like the son literally sees, oh my God, my parents worked together to get me. They hated each other after our like my brother died, like, and then we can have a nice family moment. And then even shit, you can even give Ethan a choice. Do you want to go with the new thing or do you want to go with the old thing? But like I said, the woman, woman could have been, the woman could have just been used so much more. That's why I'm saying, I'm like, have the wife be Madison, and then have the wife be with Shelby, have her be Lauren, and then plus like, oh, the first time he meets her, oh, I see your son has gone missing, and that's how they get to know each other. And then she's like, oh, you're not like the other private eyes I've talked to. You seem to care more about this,
Absolutely.
like different things like that. That's why the wife, like I said, the wife could have been used so heavily, and then like I said, you don't need Lauren and Madison. You don't need them because at the end of the day, you guys disposed of Lauren anyway.
Because it's like, but it's also like, even if you wanted to have the wife be a little bit of a prostitute in the beginning, and then you wanted to give her a character development, that's great character development. She hit rock bottom. She went so far rock bottom that she's just sleeping with random men, and then she builds herself back up to not just save her son, but to save her full family and be a better person than she is.
And
Meanwhile,
that makes sense for
Ethan,
her to have nightmares and stuff of like the men grabbing her, because it's like even though like your son got hit by a car, so
I was about to say it probably wouldn't make sense for the dreams, but it would, or the nightmares, but it would make sense if we just got to check in on her. I just don't understand. You're telling me your son dies by a car accident, and then we only see the wife twice in the game going forward? No, we should at least show her in trouble, in danger, even as an enemy on the new. Maybe she's blaming Ethan. It is him.
Or she could have shown,
the killer.
or they could have had different lives, because remember, obviously we saw, like I said, the sunniness of their other home, how nice it was. It was a very luxurious house, and then he was in the slums, you know, had no money, was obviously like living not the best life. That's what we saw at the beginning. They love doing split screens anyway. Have a split screen of her life. Maybe she moved on from it. Maybe she got a new man. Maybe, you know, or show her, like we had said, show her in the light of Lauren. Like, oh, Lauren, you know, the prostitute. Show her being a prostitute now, and how both of their lives have just disintegrated because.
Or maybe here's a long shot. Maybe she just goes so deep into drugs that she ends up discovering the tryptocane, and then she ends up then
tie her to Norman Jayden.
Bingo. See? Wouldn't that be crazy?
We just wrote a whole new game for you. You're welcome.
Crazy if you're on a Jayden mission, and then he finds his supplier, and then he's like, "Yeah, I know who you are, Mrs. Mars. I won't tell Ethan. I won't tell Ethan that you are my supplier." Like, fuck. That's better.
Yeah, we just wrote a whole new fucking game. But like I said, that's why I always say use women as humans, not fucking freaking like plots. Like I said, the wife could have been used so much more. Or if say you're like I said, you didn't want to make it goofy like that, and you didn't want to make it super family based, right? Even though you kind of did at the end. It's still like, to me, at the end of the day, it's like. And then plus also, like, have the wife have a little excerpt at the end, like, thank you for finding him. Like, I appreciate you, Madison, and helping. Like, or just show something like, so now she's going to let you have full custody of the kids. Like, of the kid. Like, I'm so confused. But then like I said, you just cut out the wife so quickly.
Use the drug thing I just said as a cop-out for why you can't have her be the main parent. Oh, Ethan, you're as bad as you look. After all this, you're still a better fit parent than your wife or your ex-wife. Why? Because your ex-wife has been supplying tryptocane to the FBI detective who's on the case. What? There's an FBI detective on the case? Yeah, Jayden, he's been supplied tryptocane by your ex-wife.
His goofy self. Okay, so obviously you clearly know it's Roosevelt. So it's like, I understand the numbers. You got to wait for them numbers. But you can clearly tell in the like text it's Roosevelt. And so to me, it's like, I just feel like, as I'm not a parent to humans, I just don't understand the concept of, I'm getting letters toward this address, I'm not telling anyone about it though. Like, he didn't tell, and now I understand what you're doing, you're not going to tell anyone. Exactly. I understand that. Exactly. Like, you're not going to tell people, oh, I got to do this to, like, get this. I understand all that. But if you had the cops and stuff on your side, now, and I guess Shelby probably would have known about it because he was a private eye. But to me, and that's like kind of why they were trying to cover it up, like have him be in the office so that we know it's. But to me, I'm like, no, you didn't talk to anybody. Only the dickhead literally. Oh, are you in more trouble? Like, once again, what are you in trouble for? What are you doing? It's like, did you already have like, you know, type like issues and stuff? I think
that's what they were insinuating.
Yeah. So to me, it's like, I guess, but you did that too late. Like, you did it too late to where it's like.
Late. You did the gold watch thing early. You presented that very early. Oh, the killer's got a gold watch. He's a lieutenant, so he has to be a cop.
Yeah.
Okay, that's fine. You set that up early. But the fact that wasn't the only time I could have talked to that receptionist, she could have been used a little bit more. I think it was too much attention on Blake when we were in the office. It was too much of Jayden versus Blake and the honestly, chief. You should have had other people in the office. Kind of like, maybe as we walk around the office, we can like talk to other people, and then they say, hey, you know, I kind of saw a little bit of, you know, you want to talk about Scott Shelby?
I was gonna say, if you're gonna have it that big, kind of be like what you just said, or if you really don't want it to dive that deep into like police work, have a smaller office. Have it literally be Jayden's office, the lieutenant's office, and then there's a long hallway to get to the other office. Like, I don't feel like you needed to have that big of a like I said, this is very nitpicky. You didn't need to have that big of a police station,
and
for it not to do anything. Yeah. We went to the restroom once. We went to our office, and then
the interrogation room, but we did not use the prisoners. I would have liked that if you did pitch that idea and we were trying to get Ethan out.
But that is kind of what they did in Detroit. So maybe Detroit saw it and was like, oh, no, we know what to do there.
Oh, you're right. Yeah, maybe they did. Yeah, maybe. Yeah, you're right. But at the end of the day, like I said, it's not to say this game wasn't great. This was still a great experience to play. Like, there were moments we were like, we got to make sure these people survive or else this gameplay is going to be
It is one of those games, though, once you first play it, just pay attention as best as you can to things and just do whatever it is you think is best. Because once you play it the first time, the second time, you already know everything.
You already know everything.
It's not going to be as exciting.
Trying to see who you can. And that's the biggest difference between this and like a... kind of like a Detroit. Like Detroit had so many
Detroit you can go back and just like, oh, I'm gonna fuck up every fight scene now and
completely change how everything is told at the end. This, and I'm sure you can do that with this one. I'm sure there's an ending where Shelby makes it and Shelby wins because everybody dies. I'm sure there's one where you save everybody. I'm sure there's one where you actually kill Ethan but Sean lives, and of course I am sure there's one where Sean dies. I'm sure a lot of people have ran into that one. But with that being said, still a great experience. We don't do these rankings like how we do movies and television shows. Give me out of 10. 10 being, damn, that's the best video game we played.
I'll give the rating and then my closing remarks. Like I said, mechanics, that they were fine for what they were, especially back then. Just like I said, the tilting of the
controller
has to be a little bit better.
Yep.
And then, like I said, I love the length of this. It never felt, oh my God, this is so long, besides when we were brushing teeth. And then like it was never, I feel like the pacing of it was really good. It wasn't like too much. Like I said, make more use of the woman characters. You could have had a even better story and you don't lose anything of, what we have already talked about. You don't lose the grasp, the actual message of the story, even when you do use the woman. I would say that. So definitely if there's ever a remaster or anything, like have the woman be more useful. Don't need to have such sexual innuendos on every single thing the women were doing. That wasn't necessary. And then like I did like the rain aspect of it. I don't know if it was 4 inches, 5 or 6. I guess it didn't fucking matter.
It was however many inches was needed to make the game make sense for us to save Sean.
Yeah.
I thought it was 4 at first.
I really thought it was 4 because I was like, oh, that's like nothing. And then plus also be mindful of that because Norman Jayden was like, oh, he has less than 72 hours. Now we do not know the concept of time. It does tell you at the bottom, but we don't. I didn't pay attention to it.
I'm not gonna lie to you. We were not paying attention at like it just. Said
but we just kept seeing the inches, and we'll have to see and go back to see like how many inches it was. But I could have swore like earlier on
it said 4.
It was like 4 or 5.
It could have said 6. 6 would make sense because
yes, it would have to be 6.
But it's like but the kid isn't 6. It doesn't make anyway.
Exactly 6 inches is not that whole fucking drain. Like 5 inches in that big ass drain.
Yeah.
What?
And
but
plus
hey,
he was, but he did survive by the end. But anyway.
But
go ahead, give me a rating. What you think?
Yeah. So other than that, like I said, just use the woman more. The mechanics are just the mechanics. Like maybe just make the tilt better. And the story was great, and I loved the pacing of it. So overall, I would give this out of 10. 10 being like the best, 1 being the worst. It's like a solid 8. Yeah, it's like a solid 8.
Alrighty then.
It could be a 7, but I'll give it an 8 just because of when this came out and like what was already done. Like this is a very fresh concept.
Yes, I was just about to say that. That's gonna really warrant my rating for this. This could have been released this year, and it still would have done as well as it did. Let's just be honest. If it would have released this year, if they would have had a trailer and said, "Here's Heavy Rain, here's a brand new concept game," a lot of people would have picked this up. Definitely would have been over YouTube like crazy. So.
And it was when it came out.
Yeah, definitely. This definitely warrants a remaster, a retelling, make it HD. And hey, if you work at if you I forget what studio works on this, but for those of you Quantico Dream, yeah, go ahead and listen to this because we gave you guys some damn good ideas.
Or a nice DLC.
Yeah, or just change around the story, but remaster it, but change around some choices in terms of what you can do. Add in some coffee shop scenes and other scenes where the characters are talking to get to know each other. That's fine. If you need to add it and make it like 8 chapters, you really could. It never seemed that long, which is good. Like Beyond Two Souls seemed very long to me when I was playing it. And Detroit, I mean, it's so fun that it didn't seem that long. This one was right in the middle, but it definitely could have used a couple more scenes for Jaden, for Lauren, as well as for Madison. Involve the wife.
You can have a DLC. You can have remaster and then have a DLC with the wife, and then have a DLC also with Norman, like, and actually give us like a reason as to why he's doing this detective work, or
and
maybe
even if you want to have fun, here's a great idea: give us a DLC from the perspective of Shelby, of him putting all this together. Wouldn't mind doing that.
You can go back in time. There was 9 other victims. You can go back and
that'd be crazy.
Look, we gave you 8 more games.
1, Victim 2, and have you play as Shelby, and then have you put him in that position, and then it builds up to the game of what it is. You can really do something great, because we just haven't seen anything like this before. Like, NCIS can do something like this. We've seen something like this with Prisoners. You haven't seen Prisoners, but it does kind of remind me of Prisoners. Maybe Prisoners was made a little bit based off this concept, but I think you can do a lot with it. Make it HD, have a lot of fun.
Or have the DLC just be the victims, like the starting victims. You don't even have to do 1, 2, 3. Like, you can literally just have it be all the victims before.
Exactly.
And
just go through those experiences and just see kind of how it is, or have it from a different perspective. Have the wife do it, like you said. Have the wife figure out some other victims, or have Ethan maybe in the future just try to spend some more time with his kids, and then something else happens and he wants to be like a private eye. Who knows? Try it again. Does it need a sequel? You can always do a sequel. I mean, like, you laid down the groundwork.
Yeah, like years later, and then it's like, and then also it's like, Scott. So we did see him die, but there probably is ones where like maybe he got away, maybe, who knows? But it's like,
or maybe he inspires someone. Like, you could open up a Heavy Rain 2 with someone.
Oh, but don't do what they did for Halloween. Please don't do that.
Oh yeah. Don't do something like that for Halloween. But you can do something like that. But anyways, I'm going to give my rating. I'm gonna give this. You're very, very close to my rating. Next, I give it 8.5. Strong, just because of that ending. I had it as an 8 for a while, but the killer's place and the origami killer, like those scenes, that's what bumped it up. I said, that's a good video game, and you have me on the edge of my seats. We always complain about how video games need to be better nowadays. It's good that you can go back in time to a game from 2011 and have a damn good time. So we definitely do suggest
Lara
it for you.
Croft, Temple of Osiris.
Temple of Osiris. Yeah, if you've never played a decision-based game ever before in your life, I'd probably tell you to try this one first.
Time to do Wolf Among Us.
Yeah,
get with the winning team.
Yes, try that as well. But anyway, hope you guys enjoyed this. As always, let us know what you want to see next. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. We will catch you guys next time on the Zay's World channel, and peace out.